After we arrived in Rome, we had about an hour's bus ride to the port of Civitavecchia, where we're going to get on the cruise ship. Here's a view of the old part of the port, and here's a wider view showing a bigger part of the cruise ship terminal. And we'll soon be leaving here for Genoa. Now we're here in Civitavecchia. We're going to get aboard our cruise ship, the MSC Fantasia. We're in the boarding lounge now, getting ready to go onto the ship. We're in the cabin and it's time to unpack. Now the unpacking's done, it's time to sit out on the balcony. Time to do a tour of the ship, and there's some pretty bright decor here. More to follow. And here's another view of the down staircase. And here's a view of one of the ceilings. This is a view of the atrium. Here's another view of the lower part of the atrium. The tour of the ship has now taken us around to the theatre, where we'll probably spend quite a bit of time. Another of the bars on the ship, with some pretty weird lighting. This is a view of the piazza they had in one of the shopping areas. We are just arriving in Genoa, and as soon as we're moored, we're going off on a tour around the city. We've arrived in Genoa and disembarked from the ship. We're now on the harbour ferry, which is going to take us across the harbour to the dock where our walking tour can start. Now we're ashore. The first thing you need to do is check out the local espresso cafes. This is still very much the old seaport where the explorers set sail hundreds of years ago. This was an interesting church that we came across during our walking tour. Today we're in Marseille and we're going to take a coach tour of the surrounding area. The first stop on the tour is a church which is right on the highest point surrounding Marseille, and the view is really good. This is the view from the highest point in Marseille, and from here the tour is going to take us on to Avignon. This is the Pope's Palace, which dates back to the 14th century.
This is the Pope's Palace in Avignon. Our group is straight ahead of us if you want to watch for them, but they don't go.
And of course, no trip to Avignon is complete without a trip to the famous bridge. We've just had a very early morning arrival in the port of Barcelona, and in a little while we'll be going on our shore excursion to tour the city. Here's another view of Barcelona. We're just starting our tour of the downtown area of Barcelona. This is the Sagrada Familia Cathedral, designed by Gaudi, still under construction in 2011 and probably will be for quite a few years to come. Another view of the Sagrada Familia and another view of the Sagrada Familia. This is the Casa Emilia apartment building, designed by Gaudi, and according to our tour guide, is still a very much sought after location. The tour has now taken us to the site of the 1929 World's Fair replica Spanish village.
This is the square of the Spanish replica village. It was built for the exposition that was held here in 1929. View over Barcelona from the Spanish replica village. Really good view. Right. Right in the center, you should be able to see the Sagrada Familia.
We've just left Barcelona and we're on the way to Tunis, and what better time than to stand out on the balcony and enjoy a coffee. We're approaching the dock in Tunis, and this is rather an interesting trip because our cruise line has not been here for a while due to the political situation, and this in fact is their first stop at this destination for quite some time. And of course on the dock we're greeted by the traditional camel procession and lots of musical instruments. on a bus tour, and we've reached the ancient Roman site in Carthage, and we're actually going to spend quite a bit of time here.
The opposite side is the south suburb of Tunis. The mountains you are looking to are the Atlas Mountains. You know, we have two chains of the Atlas. Both are coming from Morocco. In the north we call it the Telian Atlas, and in the south we call it the Saharan.
The tour was scheduled to finish up in a market, and because we got into Tunis so late, by the time we got to the market a lot of the stores were closed, but it was still quite interesting. At the end of the trip they took us to a government-sponsored carpet market, and we've been exposed to some pretty aggressive salespeople around the world, but the salesmen in this carpet place were up there with the most persistent and annoying anywhere in the world. In the end it became a competition not to buy anything, since you really had no idea of the value of anything they were selling, and we managed to get out of there without actually spending any money. Today we're sailing into Malta, and neither of us have been here before, so this should be interesting. Another view of the harbour wall as we come into Malta. This is interesting because when we were in Puerto Rico, they told us these little turrets were unique to the Puerto Rico fortress, but this appears to be identical.
We're just arriving in Malta. This is really neat. There's ships sailing in. Sailing into La Veta. Getting very close to a seawall here. And it looks like we're just into the harbour. Here we are docking in La Valette. This is capital of Malta. Really beautiful harbour.
We're on shore in Malta. The town is called Valletta, and we're about to start our walking tour of the town. But once again, first things first, it's time for the morning cappuccino. We've just walked up to a high point in the town of Valletta, and we're overlooking the saluting battery. Transportation here is rather old-fashioned but quite fun. Now we are about to leave for our next destination, which will be Messina, Sicily. We're about to dock in Sicily in the port of Messina.
Messina, Italy. We're docked right in the port, right downtown. Looks like it rained overnight, but they're forecasting a sunny day. And it should be quite interesting.
We're now off the ship and on the dock in Messina. As usual, we're doing one of our walking tours, and this is a street view in Messina. We've climbed up to the highest point in Messina, where we can get a good view looking back over the town and over the port. This is the sail out from Messina in Sicily, 2:30 in the afternoon. The cruise portion of our holiday is over. We're back in Civitavecchia. We'll soon be getting onto the bus, heading back to Rome for a couple of days. We've just left the cruise ship in Civitavecchia. We're in the bus and we're on the way to Rome and to our hotel. We're on the way to the hotel, and the traffic in Rome is not getting any better. We finally defeated all the traffic jams, and this is a picture of our hotel. No trip to Rome is complete without a traditional Italian dinner, complete with music. Now the walking tour has taken us around to the Colosseum. We did manage to get inside the Colosseum by taking a tour which had a reserved time slot, so we didn't have to wait too long in line. And here's another shot inside the Colosseum. And here's a view of the remains of the Forum. And here's another old ruin at the Forum. Time for a tour around St. Peter's Square. Unfortunately, there were so many people here, it was impossible to get into any of the buildings. But we did have a good tour around the square itself.
We're now in St. Peter's Square in Rome. Last day of our holiday. Pretty tired. It's pretty amazing.
But I was working at the embassy at the time. And then I met Michael.
A lot of people here, as you can see. It's quite a place.
Here's a view of the Trevi Fountain, which manages to cut out a lot of the people there. Here's another view of the Trevi Fountain. And of course there's the mandatory shot, throwing the money over the shoulders into the Trevi Fountain. I think this means that we both have to come back to Rome again. Now, This is a view which shows what it really was like at the Trevi Fountain with all the crowds. It's our last night in Rome, and on the way to the restaurant we noticed this example of how to park your car Rome style, which only works if you have a smart car.